There's a guy, let's call him Mark, who earns $94,000 a year. That is more than 86% of Americans. And last Tuesday, Mark declined a friend's wedding invitation because he genuinely could not afford the flight. $94,000 a year, and he can't afford a plane ticket. Here's the thing. Mark is not stupid. Mark is not lazy. Mark is doing almost everything the personal finance world told him to do. He has a budget app. He tracks his spending. He even has a Roth IRA he contributes to occasionally. But Mark is broke. Functionally, quietly, embarrassingly broke. And the reason has nothing to do with how much he earns. I'm going to show you exactly what is happening to Mark, and probably to you, and the 5 rules that fix it permanently. Introduction. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why smart, hardworking people keep running out of money despite genuinely trying not to. If you're someone who earns decent money but can't seem to get ahead, can't save, can't figure out where it goes, can't stop the cycle, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Today, we're talking about minimalist money rules. And before you think this is about selling your furniture and moving into a van, it is not. This is a philosophy that, applied to your finances, mathematically almost guarantees you will always have money. Let's get into it. The illusion of the modern financial crisis. In a world that constantly urges you to buy more, upgrade faster, and spend freely, the idea of living with less feels almost rebellious. Yet minimalism, applied not just to your closet or your living room, but to your entire financial life, may be the single most powerful strategy for building lasting wealth. Not because it is about deprivation or sacrifice, but because it is about intention. The people who consistently have money are not always the highest earners. They are the most deliberate spenders. Before diving into the rules, it is worth understanding the landscape we are operating in. According to a 2023 Bankrate survey, 57% of Americans cannot cover an unexpected $1,000 expense from savings. A 2022 Federal Reserve report found roughly 37% of adults would struggle to cover a $400 emergency. These are not people in poverty. Many earn middle-class incomes, hold steady jobs, live what looks from the outside like a comfortable life. The crisis is not one of earnings, it is one of outflow. Here's the stat that should make you furious. The average American household income has risen 135% since 1984 after adjusting for inflation. Know what happened to the personal savings rate over the same period? It collapsed from around 17% to under 5%. We are collectively earning more than any generation in history and saving less. Something in the system is working against us, and it is not an accident. We live in an economy engineered to separate people from their money. Entire departments of behavioral scientists, psychologists, and data analysts work at major corporations with one singular mission: to make you spend. Algorithms track your browsing history. Stores are designed with specific lighting, music, and product placement to trigger impulse. Subscription services make cancellation deliberately confusing. Buy now, pay later platforms remove the psychological friction of spending money you do not yet have. The system is not neutral, it is adversarial, and without a clear set of principles, most people lose. Minimalist money rules are the antidote. They do not require a spreadsheet, a financial advisor, or an above-average income. They require a shift in perspective and a handful of firm, non-negotiable commitments. Rule 1. Audit every default. The vast majority of financial leakage in modern life does not come from big, conscious decisions. It comes from defaults, automatic charges, forgotten subscriptions, habitual purchases, and passive spending that happens without deliberate choice. Quick question. Right now, without checking your phone, how many subscriptions are you paying for this month? Most people guess 4 or 5. The average American actually pays for 12, and according to a 2022 C+R research study, we underestimate our total monthly subscription spend by an average of $133 every single month. Money leaving your account that you cannot even account for. The first minimalist rule: Conduct a complete audit of every financial default and convert each one into a conscious, active choice. Pull up 12 months of bank and credit card statements. For every recurring charge, ask one question. If someone presented me with this service today and asked me to sign up fresh, knowing everything I know, would I choose it? Not whether it is occasionally useful, not whether canceling feels like a hassle. Would you choose it today? The savings from this exercise are frequently stunning. Hidden gym memberships, streaming platforms shared with people you no longer speak to, software trials that became annual subscriptions, insurance policies never competitively priced. Together, these can amount to hundreds of dollars per month. Invested consistently over 20 years, $300 per month at a 7% average annual return becomes approximately $156,000. The audit is not about frugality, it is about reclaiming money you never consciously gave away.
Rule 2. Never let a purchase make you feel wealthy. I want you to think about the last time you bought something you didn't strictly need. Not groceries, not a bill, something you wanted. And I want you to remember the feeling right before you bought it, that particular kind of anticipation, almost like relief. That feeling has a name in behavioral economics. It is called retail therapy reward anticipation, and it is neurologically almost identical to the feeling of gambling. Your brain releases dopamine not when you get the thing, but when you decide you're going to get the thing. The purchase is almost beside the point. Your brain already got its hit. Understanding this one mechanism could save you more money than any budget you've ever made. There is a particular psychological trap that catches millions of people every year. It is the feeling, pleasurable, momentary, and deeply deceptive, that buying something nice makes you wealthy. A luxury purchase, a designer item, a car slightly above your means, each creates a fleeting sense of abundance, a sense of arrival, and for a brief window, that feeling substitutes for the real thing. This is the paradox at the heart of lifestyle spending. The more you spend to feel rich, the less likely you are to become rich. Thomas Stanley's research in The Millionaire Next Door found that the majority of genuinely wealthy Americans live in modest homes, drive unremarkable cars, and actively avoid conspicuous consumption. Wealth for them is not performed, it is accumulated. Here's a counterintuitive one. A study published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology found that people who lease luxury vehicles are statistically less wealthy than people who own economy cars outright. The luxury car is not evidence of wealth. In the majority of cases, it is evidence of the desire to appear wealthy, which is a completely different and far more expensive thing. The minimalist rule. Develop conscious awareness of purchase motivation. Before any significant expenditure, ask honestly, am I buying this for what it does or for how it makes me feel about myself? Buying quality tools because they improve your work is a rational transaction. Buying a status symbol to signal success to others or to yourself is an emotional transaction dressed up as a practical one. The former builds your life, the latter drains it. Rule 3. Install friction between wanting and buying. Minimalist financial thinking is not primarily about willpower. Relying on willpower alone is a losing strategy. Willpower is finite, context-dependent, and easily depleted. Instead, minimalism is about architecture, designing your environment so that the smart financial choice is also the path of least resistance. The mechanism is friction. Every additional step between a desire and its fulfillment dramatically reduces the probability of an impulse purchase becoming a real one. Amazon knows this better than anyone. They didn't invent one-click purchasing for your convenience. They invented it because their internal data showed that adding even one extra step to the checkout process, reduced completed purchases by nearly 25%. They removed that step. They have spent billions of dollars engineering away the friction that would have protected your money. The least you can do is put some of it back. Practical applications. Move savings to a separate bank that takes 2 to 3 days to transfer from.
Make the money slightly inconvenient by design. Remove stored card information from shopping sites so purchases require manual entry. Delete retail apps from your home screen and unsubscribe from every commercial email list. According to the Data and Marketing Association, email marketing generates $36 in revenue for every $1 spent by retailers. It works because it reliably pulls people into purchases they would not otherwise make. Removing yourself from those lists is a direct act of financial self-defense. The 72-hour rule is the most powerful friction-based tool available. For any non-essential purchase, impose a mandatory 72-hour waiting period. During that time, ask one question: what problem does this solve that I don't already have a solution for? Not whether you want it, what new, unsolved problem does it address? Most impulse purchases cannot answer that question, and in the absence of a compelling answer, the desire typically fades on its own. No willpower required.
Rule 4. Wage war on lifestyle inflation. Of all the forces that prevent capable people from building wealth, lifestyle inflation may be the most insidious. It operates quietly, feels entirely reasonable, and compounds over years into a financial situation that is genuinely difficult to escape. Lifestyle inflation is the tendency to increase spending in proportion to increases in income. A raise arrives and a nicer apartment follows. A promotion comes and a newer car appears. Each upgrade feels justified. You earned more, why shouldn't your life reflect that? But the math is brutal. If income rises from $60,000 to $75,000 and spending rises from $58,000 to $73,000, the savings rate remains effectively unchanged at roughly $2,000 per year. The extra $15,000 in annual income generated precisely zero additional wealth. It simply funded a more expensive version of the same financial stagnation. Now you might be thinking, okay, but a $2,000 savings rate is still something. Here's what that looks like over time at 7% returns. After 30 years, you have $227,000. Sounds okay, right? Now watch what happens if you bank even half of that raise instead. $9,500 saved per year. Same 30 years, same returns. You end up with $1.07 million. Same job, same career, same person. 4 times the outcome. The raise didn't make the difference. The decision about what to do with it did. The minimalist rule is non-negotiable. Every time income increases, the savings rate must increase before the lifestyle does. Minimum 50-50. Half of every raise goes to savings, half may go to lifestyle. Ideally, for at least the first year following any income increase, the entire additional amount flows into savings. Permanently decouple your sense of financial progress from your visible standard of living. Real wealth is not what your lifestyle looks like, it is what your balance sheet says. Rule 5. Redefine what money is for. All of the preceding rules rest on one foundational shift in belief. Most people, absorbing assumptions from consumer culture, believe at an unconscious level that money is for spending. It flows in, it flows out, and the quality of a financial life is measured by the quality of what the outflow purchases: experiences, possessions, comfort, status, pleasure. Minimalist financial philosophy holds something categorically different. Stop for a second and actually answer this. If you lost your job tomorrow, how many days could you survive on your current savings before you were in serious trouble? The median American answer, according to a 2023 Federal Reserve survey, is 22 days, 3 weeks. That is the actual measurable size of most people's freedom. 22 days. Money is stored freedom. Every dollar not spent today is a unit of future optionality. It is the ability to leave a job that is making you miserable, to take 3 months off without catastrophe, to handle an emergency without debt, to retire 5 years earlier, to give generously without fear. When this belief is genuinely internalized, not just understood intellectually, but felt as a governing value, the entire calculus of spending changes.
A $1,500 purchase is no longer evaluated only against the pleasure it will provide. It is evaluated against what it represents: months of emergency fund, weeks of optionality, years of retirement timeline. Most purchases measured this way look very different than they do through the lens of consumer desire. This is not a counsel of joylessness. Minimalist financial thinking does not demand the elimination of pleasure or quality. It demands intentionality. Spend freely and happily on things that genuinely matter most to you. Eliminate everything that does not. The goal is a financial life with very little waste and very high signal, where every dollar that leaves your account was genuinely, consciously chosen.
The compounding consequence. Let me tell you what happens to two people. Same age, same starting salary of $55,000, same city, same opportunities. Person A does what most people do. Every raise gets absorbed into lifestyle. Every subscription accumulates. Every impulse gets acted on. By 45, they earn $90,000 and feel like they should have more to show for it. Retirement feels abstract and slightly terrifying. They have $34,000 saved. Person B applies the 5 rules. Not perfectly, not monastically, but consistently. They audit their defaults once a year. They wait 72 hours before non-essential purchases. They bank half of every raise before spending any of it. By 45, they also earn $90,000. They have $340,000 invested. And retirement for them is not a question of if, it is a question of exactly when. Same income, same city, same career length. 10 times the outcome. The difference is not talent, luck, or discipline in any painful sense. It is a handful of rules applied consistently over time. The math underneath that story? Redirecting a net $600 per month into a diversified index fund averaging 7% annual returns produces approximately $103,000 over 10 years, $312,000 over 20 years, and more than $726,000 over 30 years. From $600 a month, from noise that was previously leaving unnoticed. But the financial outcome may be secondary to the psychological one. People who live by minimalist money principles consistently report lower financial anxiety, greater sense of control, and stronger confidence in handling uncertainty. The emergency fund that once felt impossible becomes the baseline. The scarcity that drove emotional spending dissolves as real security accumulates. The relationship with money shifts from stress and avoidance to agency and clarity. Conclusion. Here's what I want to leave you with. Remember Mark from the beginning, the guy earning $94,000 who couldn't afford a wedding flight? I want you to understand something about Mark. Mark is not a cautionary tale of stupidity or laziness. Mark is a cautionary tale about defaults, about a financial life that was never actively designed, that was just allowed to happen, shaped by advertising and habit and the path of least resistance. The 5 rules we covered today are not complicated. Audit your defaults, question your purchase motivations, install friction between wanting and buying, resist lifestyle inflation, redefine what money is for. None of them require suffering. None of them require a finance degree. Every single one of them is available to you right now, today, in the next 15 minutes if you want to start. Here is the uncomfortable truth that most financial content will not say to you directly. The version of you that exists 5 years from now is being built by decisions you make in the next 5 days. Not the next 5 years, the next 5 days. Because habits do not start on January 1st. They start the moment you decide they do. The people who always seem to have money are not lucky. They are not necessarily higher earners. They are operating by a different set of rules. Rules that compound quietly over years into a financial life that most people only ever wish they had. Those rules are available to you. The only question is whether you start today or keep waiting for a better moment that is never going to arrive. If this video helped, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. Subscribe if you're not already, and drop a comment. Which of the 5 rules are you implementing first? I read every single one. See you in the next one.